the nurse teaches a client in the emergency department following mild traumatic brain injury. Which client statement indicates further education is needed? So again, go through each one of the answer choices and just kind of talk us through your thought process for each one.
So, mild TBI, further education. So the first one, I will take acetaminophen to treat my headache. I would think that would be okay to do because it's not ibuprofen medicine. So I would say that one would be okay. I will avoid the gym for the next 2 days. I would say probably more than 2 days.
Okay.
But I would say avoiding the gym, yes.
Okay.
I will take a sedative tonight to help me rest. That would be a no because he's got a traumatic brain injury and you don't want to increase the possible sedation that he already may have.
All right.
And then I will go to the emergency room if I begin to vomit. Yes, you need to do that.
Okay. So your correct answer is?
Further education would be C.
Awesome.
Is that correct?
Yep. That's it. And so one of the things that I've done on this one is just kind of break down below how you might read into it or overthink it. And we started to go down some of that path just a little bit, but you did a great job of reining yourself back in and just paying attention to exactly what was in front of you, and that was perfect. So if you read too fast, you might just think, you know, if you miss that further education piece and you're just like, oh, they've got a concussion, so they definitely need to come back in if they vomit. Like, that's easy to just train your eyes straight to that, and you would just pick it and go on, okay? These are the ones that when you take your test in class and you go back and do review, you're like, oh, that was dumb. Why did I do that? So that was perfect. If you read into the question, and again, that was one of the paths we kind of started down. I'll take acetaminophen for my headache. So if you read way too far into that, you might be like, well, no, if they have a headache, they need to come back in. Well, no, if they've got a concussion, they're going to have a headache for a little while. You might add to it if you have a severe headache or some of those other signs and symptoms like photophobia or whatever, then come back in. I will avoid the gym for the next 2 days. And again, we kind of started down that path, so depending on their concussion, you might want them to avoid the gym for longer, but they're probably going to follow up with their primary physician again in a day or two to see how they are. So a 2-day limit on the gym is probably going to be enough for them to figure out where they are with their concussion and for them to get back in to be seen again. So we're at least telling them to stay out of the gym, and so we're good there. So yeah, the one thing that you don't want them to do is to take a sedative. No sedatives. Now at the bottom of this, I broke down just a concept map. I think concept maps are super helpful for figuring out how to break down certain complex questions. And so for this one, when you kind of break down what it is, and I put the things in green that they definitely need to do, and then the things in red, the things that they would need more teaching for. You could do this as you're working through any kind of complex question, and you just kind of dump out what you know. So like if you had just read that they had a concussion, right? So you might go in on your little whiteboard and say, okay, so they had a concussion, so I know that they're going to have to do X, Y, and Z. I know that they're not going to do A, B, and C. And then when you uncover the answers, you can be like, oh, well, there it is. I don't want him to take anything to put him to sleep. I want him to be able to be aroused easily.